I want to bring up a very specific slide that breaks down the proposal itself in dollar amounts. And I think this is the conversation I've seen the most about.
Yeah.
And we're talking about these dollar amounts, and we've already mentioned it. You see it, and it's kind of that idea of sticker shock, right? It goes off the top of your head like, what are we getting into? So I want you to break this investment breakdown for us or take a look at it. And you can use the mouse if you want to go to any specific slides as well.
Okay.
But I want the audience to be able to very specifically see what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I'll just kind of talk you through this one then. So it is true. When you first see this information, it does make you pause for a moment. It is a $285 million investment in our community that we're asking for our community to step up. And I won't, I'll just say that we don't take this lightly. You know, I've had a few folks say, do you actually know what that means for me and my family? And I say, I don't, but why don't you tell me? I'm really interested in hearing about it. I recognize that this hits every family a little bit differently. And we are at Midland Public Schools very aware of the socioeconomic diversity in our community. We see the children in our schools every day. Right now, we have about 37% of our students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. So we approach this with a real sensitivity. It is $285 million projects, and it is a 3.25 mil increase over the current 2.95 mils that we have. It is broken down. There's a slide that you can see here that has this broken into various categories. Again, in our effort to be really open with our community, the bulk of this is new construction. It is the new construction of an elementary, which is about a $54 million project, and the new middle school, which is about an $84 million project. Construction is expensive. And that is just the truth. And prices have increased significantly even since we opened Central Park Elementary. There's a lot of other really important elements in this proposal, though. And so I want our community to understand it isn't just about the new construction. It is also about the infrastructure upgrades that we want to make to our other schools, the career and tech ed upgrades that we want to make. We know how important those programs are for the success of our students. There's bus purchases, technology upgrades. There's improvements to arts, athletics, and elementary play spaces that are all incredibly important to our students and our community. There is a lot of important projects in this proposal. I'll offer on this slide, you can see how we've broken this into a 4-series approach. This is the best approach, not only because it's the financial model that is the most cost-effective, it also allows us to really focus intently on the work that needs to be done in that moment. We're going to start right out of the gate with safety and security upgrades because our community continues to tell us that is the most important element, ensuring that students are safe when they're in our schools every day. We'll begin the design of the new elementary. Again, our needs there are the most significant. I shared before, we're out of space. We have a need for more space. The preschool building needs to come offline. Building that elementary as a priority was the board's decision, and we stand by that. The new elementary is slated to open in the fall of 2029. And again, we want to be really intentional, have a lot of collaboration in that design process, be very thoughtful and intentional about those boundary adjustments and working with our community when we make those decisions so that we can all feel as good as we can about that change. And as soon as that elementary is open and underway, we're going to start digging in and designing that middle school. The middle school is slated to open in 2033. That is about what our estimate showed, that we can sustain Northeast into the future without any significant investment. So the timing works out well in terms of this 4-series approach.
And that new middle school will go where?
Great question. The current parcel where Northeast is large enough that we can stage the build right on that same piece of property. So we, as our community, have watched this happen with Greater Midland at the community center. Same concept. All of the security measures that need to happen, appropriate fencing and guards so that construction can happen. Students will still come to Northeast for several years, and then when the time is right, we'll transition over to that new school, and the old Northeast will be torn down, and that part of that piece of property will be repurposed.
And we talked about the elementary will be north of town?
Yes.
Do you have a location for that right now?
We don't. It's a little premature for us to be purchasing property, but we've done our due diligence to know that there are viable options and there are pieces of property for sale in the general vicinity. It's important, too. We've been in touch with the city of Midland to understand our access and opportunity to access certain municipal services that are necessary for a modern elementary school. So when the time is right, we'll take some action on that.
And when we have conversations about what this community investment really means for households.
Yes.
I love that we have a breakdown here of
We do.
So people can really kind of visualize a little bit about what that would mean for their particular household.
Yeah, and as I said, it's important to us that every family, every homeowner really think about what this means for them. Again, we approach this with sensitivity, knowing that it is an individual choice, and also at the same time asking for this investment in our schools and our students and our community. So you can see on this slide, if we look at a home that has a market value of $200,000, it's a taxable value of about $100,000, and that would indicate that that homeowner would pay about $27 per month for this $3.25 million increase.
Awesome. And if anybody's listening to this, Penny is putting it out in plain language for you right now, and we appreciate you listening. Is it okay if we share these slides online as well?
Absolutely.
And I think you have shared them already.
Yes, I was just going to say.
So we'll share your link.
They are on our website. We also have a pretty robust FAQ document. And in that FAQ document, there is the specific ballot language, and there is also a formula that folks can use to calculate what this means for them based on their own home value.
So if you're listening in your car, feel free to wait till later and go ahead and look that up. Well, we appreciate you listening. Penny is stating it in very clear language for you, though.
I'll also just offer, Kevin, there is an email address and a phone number on the website, on this webpage, and on all of our materials, and we are personally responding to all of those inquiries and making sure that folks have the information they need.
Awesome. So talking millage rates in our county, where does this put us at with other schools within our area? It's
a great question. And for us here in Midland County, Midland Public Schools is at the bottom of that list with our current 2.95. We have two schools that are at a 7 mill rate, and then Coleman is a little bit less. Even when we get to 6.2, should this proposal be supported by our community, 6.2 still doesn't put us at the top, but it gets us a little more in the ballpark and have that ability to continue modernizing our facilities.
And we understand that sometimes those comparisons to smaller school districts isn't necessarily a direct comparison that makes sense, but when we compare ourselves across the state, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think that has been more striking to the community as I'm out sharing this information. I show this slide and I could sort of see eyes widen across the room. The schools you see on this particular slide are schools that we often compare ourselves to academically. These are schools, I mentioned we're in the top 3% based on SAT scores. Many of these are also schools that sort of hang in that same area. They're also schools where our families are traveling for travel sports, for music, art, and other endeavors. And those families come back to our community and say, why don't our facilities look like they do in, pick your school there? And I have to let them know this is part of why. We've taken really good care of our facilities. We maintain them well. But we have not been levying debt, issuing mills to our community like these other communities have. And you can see on this table that some of these are 6, 7, even 8 mills towards school facilities, towards bonds and or sinking funds that allow them to do those deep renovations, new construction, and many of these have been doing that for decades. So this is part of our story as to why we have older facilities. Really thankful that our community supported that 2015 bond and we were able to build Central Park Elementary. This 2025 bond is proposing that we take that next step by building another new elementary and a middle school and really getting us advanced in our modern facilities.
Subscribe wherever you consume media. Maxwell's Midland is your entertainment, resources, and collective improvement hub for Midland County. Plan your next adventure in Midland at maxwellsmidland.com.